If you think your brain doesn't work properly, it's working absolutely bloody fine. Not everyone is neurotypical. A lot more people are neurodiverse, but does it mean that it's a hindrance? I overthink things, I'm super forgetful, I am quite flighty, so I could go off on tangents for hours. I said to my wife, I don't think my brain works properly. But then she was like, yeah, but you're creative and you can multitask. You just got a unique skill set that is just different to someone else.
You are extremely positive. Do you feel like that every day?
Meet David Clark, founder of bobcheck and leader at Cataphract Security Vetting. From automating recruitment technology to delivering trusted vetting solutions, David turns complex challenges into streamlined digital success.
For those that don't know what bobcheck actually is.
Bobcheck stands for behind our back.
Well, there you go.
So Bob is our agent that goes into your CRM, extracts your data and checks if candidates have gone behind our back, if they've been sent or interviewed, and we track every month for a year to see if the Bob event happens.
So tell us about bobcheck and how you've managed to make that into SaaS, if you're allowed to tell me that.
So because we're SaaS.
Hi guys. Welcome back to Founder Stories. It's Donna here from The Engine, and one thing we always try to do is give variety on this podcast. And I've gone from interviewing somebody who's coming out of local government, going into leadership hardware, all the way full circle into compliance. So I am absolutely delighted. I've been trying to get him on the podcast for ages and ages. I'm so happy that he squeezed us in. I'm delighted to introduce and welcome David Clark from bobcheck. Finally, I can't believe it. You're actually here. You are one of the busiest people I know, and yet you always are at every single networking event. You are absolutely everywhere. I'm convinced there's more than one of you. And the thing that I notice always is that you come with a smile. So, and there it is, just right there. So David, for those that don't know, just give us a kind of a potted history and an elevator pitch, if you will, of what bobcheck actually is.
Bobcheck stands for behind our back. So Bob is our agent that goes into your CRM, extracts your data and checks if candidates have gone behind our back and results in a missed fee. It was a lockdown 3 idea that I manifested and took to market. I'm really proud of where we are, but there's a big old world out there that needs to find some missed fees.
Amazing. So for anybody sitting on the peripheral that doesn't understand recruitment, let's just lay this out very quickly. So what happens is all the time, and this is one of the things in recruitment that doesn't seem to have changed so much. So I'm very familiar with this from my days as a recruiter. So the scenario tends to be you have somebody at interview stage, which ordinarily, according to terms, is the official point of kind of introduction. And for whatever reason, they were not successful. Either the candidate says no, client says no. Oh, well, lost the deal, move on as a recruiter. 2-3 months later, lo and behold, they rock up. And when you find them, that's great because any deal's off the table. You can revert back to your standard terms and you can bill for that. But I'd say, well, you'll probably give me the stats, but I'd say there's a huge percentage of the time that you don't find them. So that's the problem that you're trying to solve, right?
Yes. So if you imagine a company, just say 50 recruiters, and they're sending out 5 CVs a week each, that's about 10,000 CVs a year. So if you then take a monthly stat and go through line by line, that's really hard to manually check. So what we've done, we've automated the process to check if candidates have gone behind our back, if they've been sent or interviewed, and we track every month for a year to see if the Bob event happens. Now, out of those 50 people in the agency, you might have 10, 15 leave. And then which manager is going to check that data, or who's going to manually check it? So we're classed as, a lot of the time, as an insurance policy, a revenue protection policy, that someone who's got business insurance, they're probably not going to ever use it, ever. Hiscox, Simply Insurance, they're not going to use it. So a lot of our clients bill us as an insurance policy. Stats, about 1 in 2,000 CV sends is a missed fee or results in a missed fee. So that's for 1 in every 10 recruiters a year. So we're a SaaS model, right? And this is where you've got your experience in. We don't ever take a percentage of that missed fee. We're pure SaaS. You can generate £1 million. Great. you could get 20 grand. Great. So what the platform really enables is peace of mind to know that your business is just protected and that we are looking out for clients or candidates who might 9 months later pop up at your company, that your client that you're recruiting for, and all of a sudden you'll do a fee based on terms. Like, you're right.
And then there's not much else to discuss from there. You can just...
We flag it to the client and they go and do what they want with it. So our learning, and we'll talk about that maybe later, but when I first started, it was go after the fee. Go on, crack on, send the invoice, see what happens. But now it's really more based on, do you really want to frustrate your client with legal letters? You might lose that client if you go legal. Most of the time, depending on the state of the client, recruiters will take them out for lunch. Mr. and Mrs. Client, Donna's gone to company X, your company. Can we negotiate some retainers or exclusives? So we had one company really, really early on, great early adopter. They found 110,000 in missed fees, genuine revenue lost. They turned that into circa 310 by saying, we're not going to go legal. We're not going to send you an invoice, but that was a 10 grand fee. Can we get 3 exclusives or 3 retainers based on 20, 30 grand of new opportunity pipeline? So it's a big learning curve. Half go after the fee, half look at it as extra revenue.
As extra revenue and an extra channel, I suppose, and an
a
extra
reason
foot in
to
the
call
door.
your client
A
who
reason,
you might not have spoken to for 9 months. The recruiter might have opened the door, signed terms, sent some CVs down, had a couple of interviews and left. I'm really sorry, but Mr. Agency, you're still due that revenue, even though John's gone or Claire's gone.
Exactly, it's not tied to a recruiter.
You're still due.
Yeah, genius stuff. And I love that it's a SaaS platform as well, because I think chasing missed fees is something that most, if you're in recruitment, you're familiar with. But you imagine if you're going to deploy or invest in something or someone to do that, you do kind of imagine, no offense, but a stuffy lawyer, basically, that you outsource that work to. So tell us about bobcheck and how you've managed to make that into SaaS. Like, what's it actually doing as a product? Is it kind of just scouring around LinkedIn? If you're allowed to tell me, that is. You don't have to tell. Yeah, secret sauce. Don't give me any IP. I'm not allowed to have.
So very early on, we learned the recruitment founders are quite frustrated with the typical SaaS billing. If you're paying for 40 licenses for LinkedIn or the ATS, and then you lose 20 recruiters, especially 2022, 23, 24, post-COVID boom, they were still stuck with all these licenses. So we've done it on a percentage of the yearly CV send volume. So you could still have a small agency sending loads of CVs. We're going to be billing them maybe more than exec search. You might be sending maybe 1 or 2 a week each, a bit strategic. So we've gone on a per usage model, which the percentage goes down with extra volume. So and early on, we decided to not be the recovery agents. We're not going to help you try and track that money down. We're going to give you a lot of evidence of where they've gone and why, and the source links. So you can go to your client with some knowledge and some proven data, and that's where we stop. So we're trying to help them understand why it happened. And the other part is they're understanding why it happened from an operational point of view. Did you not register it on the ATS? Did you have a free replacement? Was it side story here, but we had one guy fired because all he was doing was talking to his network of candidates going, yeah, I've been sent to Google, Amazon and Microsoft. So all he did, you just send the CVs down there, willy-nilly trying to get in there first or get in there. So we were finding all these missed fees, but he was just actually having no structure to his day.
There was no terms sent.
No terms, just sending anyone down there trying to win it. And when they dug down deeper, a lot of the interviews were fake and it was not right. And so that's a real bad story, but that's where the ops part came in to understand, well, actually, are your consultants following process? Are you attaching terms? Are you doing things like that? So
yeah,
the SaaS model is, we've talked hard about what are we, who are we, how do we fit in the rec tech ecosystem? There are a lot of great companies out there. Why are we different, and why would a company pick me over others that probably can't do it because it's not their niche? And so we worked hard on who are we.
Yeah, brilliant. And it is very niche.
Stay in lane. We are staying in lane.
Stay in lane. you sound like somebody who's a
Yes.
mutual friend right now. I can kind of sense who's on your board there. But no, it's very true, and actually, it's something that, you know, what I'm always looking for in these podcasts is what makes the founders individual. I hate to categorize anybody as, okay, there are founders and there are non-founders. I think there are people and there are humans. And I'd actually take a stab at everybody that I've seen so far is very, very different to the next person. But the synergies are really interesting. And not just the synergies in how people are wired, but in the reasons why they've been successful. And staying in your lane, nailing your niche or your niche, if you're in the US, has definitely been a running theme. And it's a huge tonic to me to listen to as a new founder myself, who is always trying to get pulled in all sorts of different directions by lots and lots of crazy CEOs with fantastically creative ideas. And it really helps keep me honest as well, and to kind of keep me in lane. But I think it is, you know, it is a very, I can't see it being too crowded too soon is what I'm trying to say. What you're doing is, but the value is so, it's just there, isn't it? I'm sure from a go-to-market sales perspective, this can't be a difficult product to sell, right?
But most people on the demo say it's a no-brainer. We have to have this. It's a business insurance. It's not super duper expensive, and it runs in the background and it flags up to certain people in your ops team. So as we were saying just before, where you've got recruiter-led products where you have heavy adoption on the sales floor, you have to use it. You should use it. Our platform plugs into the API, runs seamlessly in the background, and when we do find a missed fee, it goes to someone in ops or finance, a named person, to go and do their investigating, do your triage of data to understand, right, actually an interview did happen, they said no, or an interview did happen and they said we don't have budget. And then they can work out if it's a true missed fee, and then go and tap the recruiter on the shoulder. So the recruiter won't find out until the business finds out first. We, again, worked out that actually, if you're sending the recruiter notification and they're super junior, they don't know how to handle it, they're having a bad month, and then all of a sudden they missed a fee, is that classed as bad candidate management, bad client management? Why did you let that happen? They'll be like, oh God, I don't really need this I'm on probation, or I'm not doing very well. Versus, they might not know it's end of quarter, end of half year. The MD might just send out a 10, 20K fee for that, just see what happens. So we let the ops and finance know first, and they can work out if they should go and tap the recruiter on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely genius in all respects. I love the bit around this is helping us improve as an organization and improve our internal processes and our operations, as opposed to just being let's catch those guys out and go and grab our 30K fee. Don't get me wrong, as somebody who, it was the end of the month right now, and obviously I know how that feels from a sales perspective, and finding out that someone owes you 30 grand on the last day of the month if you're 98% of quota is not a bad day in the office. But at the same time, it's all of the byproducts of that are so interesting, and you definitely win the prize for the company that I've spoken about as long about the product and what they're doing now. Normally on the podcast, we touch on that very quickly and then we get into the juicy stuff. But I'm just so interested, and I know that everybody listening to this will be as well, because it's so different to anything we've ever heard of before.
it's a really specific use case that we've come up with a tech solution for, where some people might not know that there is the need. Now, it's, the corny bit of my sales, if it needs to be done on a demo, is if you're a car salesperson and you have 20 cars go out on demo, would you be happy with getting 19 back? Well, you wouldn't. So it's the same thing. Your product is your recruiter who's scoured the market, who's got this vacancy, and he knows they're excellent candidates. They've sent them out an interview and they're nothing.
Yeah.
So if you multiply that by 10,000, we've got one client, big top 10 agency in the world. They're tracking, I think, 250,000 CVs. So you can imagine the volume 1 in 2,000, they're going to get quite a lot. So they're listed, and they will have next year's finances popped up by Bob. So you could think of Bob being number 51 on your billing list. And then if Bob makes it on the sales trip because of the missed fees, then hopefully I'll go to Ibiza or something like that. That would be quite fun.
Totally.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
be in the Hard Rock Hotel before you know it.
Mm.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I'd love to know where you got the idea from for such a niche product. I mean, you don't have to tell me too much, but yeah, I'd love to know kind of at what point did you have that light bulb moment when everyone around us is building these AI-driven kind of, as you say, recruiter-led tools. What made you do something so different?
So I was agency recruitment for 13 years, a company called NP Group. You can probably find it on LinkedIn. Loved it. Amazing growth. They went through a really interesting time. And we used to do the process, what now I understand is every quarter and half year, to try and find some. And I did find them, and I was at the time quite junior, so I used to sweep them under the carpet. So that's where we came up with that idea. And then 2016, wife was pregnant with baby number 2. Was commuting to London. I've moved out to Buckinghamshire, beautiful little village, commuting in, and they said, "Oh, actually, we're going to move to Old Street." So he's coming to Marylebone, Great Portland Street, perfect. And they're going to move to Old Street. And I was like, okay, can I work at home 2 days a week? I'm not seeing baby number 1. I'm getting home at 7 and he's going to bed, and I'm wake up and leave at 6:30. And they were like, no. Can I, work a bit remote? And they were like, no. So I had my own Apple Mac. At the time we were on Bullhorn, so that's cloud, and I had my own mobile, but I was going into the office 5 days a week. So this is 2016, 17, right? And they said no. So I was probably going through a big wobble about what I want to do. So 13 years recruitment, I was probably about 30 years old, earning really well, like you would imagine. And the company had gone through some transition. So I just naturally inherited a load of accounts. I was sensible boy, not an idiot. Give it to Clarky, he'll be fine. So I was really comfortable, and that's when it was getting a bit, I was too comfortable. So I was really focusing on changing up my life, and it's still running. There was a website called escapethecity.com or .org, and I even invested in it because they were promoting open your laptop in Bali. We're working with this eco, coffee company, and go and work from a cabana. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. But I've got baby number 1, got a mortgage, got 2 on the way. And I was like, and I really want to change up my life. So where this it slots in recently because I just got diagnosed with ADHD, and because my son has it. So I did a post a while back on LinkedIn about the bandwagon of everyone having ADHD. But what was happening back in 2016 is everything was kind of catching up with me about not managing a project, not managing your time, anxiety about failure, fear of rejection, overthinking. It's all literally slotted into place. So Christmas party, the day of 2016, I came down massively with vertigo. It was really, really odd. So the night before, I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, and just was sick everywhere. Really odd. I tried to stand up, and I just couldn't. So I thought, all right, okay, I might be burning a candle at both ends, worried about a job. I was interviewing at the time, thinking about baby number 2 coming in, summer of 17, what am I going to do? And it was really stressful. So came into work next day, as all the chaps used to do. You come in dressed up for the Christmas party that starts at maybe 3 or 4, and all the girls come in and go to the bathroom and get changed, right? So I was in my full clobber in the toilet about 11 o'clock, just like being sick in the toilet. So ears and eyes, they just get all confused. And so if you're staring at a screen, the screen shaking, a laptop TV, screen shaking, and you're like, that's vertigo. It's not a fear of heights. It's just how your balance interacts with the screen and things like that. So I was in toilet, and my boss was like, are you all right? I was like, I wasn't out on the lash last night. I wasn't in Strawberry Moons or down in Clapham Infernos. This is weird. So I went down to a walk-in centre, and then they looked in my eyes. She was like, yeah, you got vertigo. I'm not going to let you leave until you've got a taxi and someone picks you up at the other end. So I get a taxi back to work. I was like, here's my sick note. I have to go home, and they won't let me leave. So that was Great Portland Street, and Mum and Dad live top of the Northern Line, Totteridge. So Dad drives down, picks me up. Mark, meet Dad. My boss, Mark Allborough, meet Dad. So driving back in the car, and Dad's like, what's wrong? And driving back up to up the M40, A41, I was like, I'm really unhappy. I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do. I love recruitment. I love the money. I love the drive, but I want to open up my laptop anywhere and work. And there's a constant thing about freedom, about getting into town 5 days a week, trains are inexpensive, things like that. So Dad at the time has left the police and he starts a little pre-employment screening company. And so I thought, do you know what? I'm interviewing all these companies, great companies, same thing, different toilet. Let's not get crass. So same day, different company, make money for someone else. So we worked out, went to the pub over Christmas and we were like, right, what do you need to earn? Let's drop it down. And so I thought, right, let's just give this a year. So that was kind of mid-January 2017. And then, so fast forward to now, we've got 32 people in that company. We're doing really, really well. And it's been amazing to learn how to run a company, grow a company, hire staff, tax return, R&D, tax claims, everything. So super duper fast forward, lockdown 3, so that's January 21. Helen was watching Netflix and I was looking at the Bullhorn job ad in Cherry marketplaces just to see from a pre-employment screening point of view, who's there. I don't know why. All of a sudden I had a flashback to my old COO making us do a Bob's Day. So tomorrow, come in, we'll get you pizza and download your Excel list from whatever ATS and do your Bob's Day. I just had really, really odd flashback. I don't know why. So I had to Google, nothing there. I was like, all right, is it in Bullhorn, in job ad in Vinny? No. I was like, all right, okay, let's keep on looking. So the next week I spoke to 6 people who are still in recruitment. Bear in mind, this is now post-COVID, maybe 4 or 5 years out of recruitment. And they were like, Dave, that's a great idea, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about it? So we spent 21 investing and building. We launched Feb 22 and we kind of don't call 22, 23 our first year. So really go to market was Feb 23. But what happened in recruitment, the wobble, the fear of leaving the money, I truly believe I was quite heavily depressed. We could kind of talk about that now. But back then, I was like, hi, boss, I'm not really firing all cylinders. I don't think I'm going to make that much money because I'm not that happy. Probably seen as a sign of weakness. You're not going to give me the good accounts. Or if someone else leaves, don't give it to Clark. So I don't think I could speak up. And it was probably all linked to the ADHD side. So I said to my wife very early on, we met at university, got together after, I was like, I don't think my brain works properly. And she still remembers the meal where we talked about it. I was like, I overthink things. I'm super forgetful. I am, don't like it when there's no conversation. So you start verbal vomiting. I am quite flighty in terms of like this. I could go off on tangents for hours, right? But then she was like, yeah, but you're creative and you can multitask because you beat yourself up. So if you think about recruitment, you got get some clients, get some candidates, do your own marketing, arrange interviews, send some CVs. You really got to multitask. And then running the company with Dad, well, that's just a dream because that's constant multitasking. So I think looking at where I was to where I am now, if you were to ask me in not even 8 years, this is what your life could be like, I would bite everything off. Arms, hands, feet, just to have what I've got now. So I always look back and think I'm really grateful. I'm still friends with loads of my mates in recruitment. They're using bobcheck. It's really, really good. But yeah, so last month I've started to take medication. It's amazing. Like I could talk for hours about it as well. But then where I think people got to remember is not everyone is neurotypical. A lot more people are neurodiverse. But does it mean that I'm different? Does it mean that it's a hindrance? So I think everything that happened for a reason. And where I am trying to run these 2 companies and then growing Bob, it's going bonkers. It's great. They do say that the best jobs for people with ADHD is sales and entrepreneur. I was like, well, this is great. So then my wife's saying she can't do things that I've done and multitask and get creative and come up with ideas. But then I can't do things which A grade students can, because they can just sit and read and focus and talk for ages. So
What type of student were you?
I was, well, undiagnosed ADHD. The school reports, mum and dad cleared out the loft and brought them around the other day.
But you were not diagnosed as a kid,
No.
right? So
Last year.
what differences did you notice? Did you notice back then that there would any
At the
kind of
time, no. It was
No?
just fidget bum.
Yeah.
Can't sit still.
Yeah,
And every school report is, oh, he just needs to read more.
right.
Well, I can't sit still. I don't read. This is why podcasts are great, because I just listen to it on train. I can't focus and read, because after 2 pages, your brain's like, check LinkedIn, check your emails, do something else, dopamine hits, dopamine. So when my son was struggling to read and sit still and focus, we're like, oh.
You recognised it
Yeah.
in yourself.
And then we had a fly from the specialist doctors we went to, and Helen was like, that's you. I was like, shit, I think I've got ADHD. So that's where she said, do you remember that conversation? You said your brain doesn't work properly. I think that's what it is.
And now do you see it as slightly different to your brain doesn't work properly, and actually your brain works differently, or works in a way that has enabled you to achieve your dream? Because you just said if you could look back 8 years ago and say where you are now, that would have been your absolute dream. And it sounds like the way that your brain works is the thing that's actually got you there. So what a positive thing. But I suppose, you know, we're roughly the same age, and I think that I know exactly what you mean with school. It was, you had labels put on you very, very quickly around fidgeting and being disruptive and all of those things. It also sounds like you've got really good parents. Like your dad sounds like a legend, and obviously wants you to do well. But how was kind of growing up for you when you kind of had the system working against you a little bit and being a bit, well, mean really to you, and kind of calling you out on things that were not your fault?
I think internally I was really, really frustrated. But why can't I sit down and just study for 2 hours at home? Or Sunday night, 4 till 6, homework time, when you're mid-teenagers studying for GCSEs as well. So why can't I just sit down, read it, get it, understand, move on, when you have to put so much more effort just to get the basics done, because you're constantly flipping between projects and jobs or whatever it might be, doing some English, thinking, oh, shit, I need to do some geography or whatever. So I wasn't a naughty student. I wasn't a bad student. I loved sport. I played rugby, and then at university I rowed and things like that. But that was a distraction for doing the work. So I was a average BC student at GCSEs. A levels nearly flunked. I scraped into university, nearly failed that. And so you're going through life thinking, oh, I'm just a bit of a failure. And then I drop into recruitment, and then all the founders of MP, most of them didn't go to uni, and they all started work at 16. And I was like, this is amazing. So they don't really care that it's like I nearly failed my degree in computer network management, but that helped me recruit the computer network managers that I didn't want to be. So you kind of went through life thinking a bit of a failure, you can't concentrate, always frustrating people, and forgetful, and where's your homework, where's your book? So it's all slotted into place. So now I'm really comfortable with who I am. I always was, but a lot of the confidence is built up on, if I could be really happy and confident and just go into a room and just like hug everyone and be really, really chuffed, behind it's like you leave and you think, oh, how was I last night? Was I too chatty? Was I too forward? You have a lot of self-doubt. So all these things slot in. You know, if an ADHD consultant's watching, please reach out. But there's so many things under the skin that is really, really relevant about why people are who they are. And so going through in recruitment, you're like, oh shit, I forgot to arrange an interview, or I forgot to do this, forgot to do that. Love my lists now. Things like Sourcewell or Odro and note takers and AI generated notes. Didn't have them. Just didn't have them. Formatting CVs. I know you had Tom on. I've always said I was born 10 years too early. So you spend hours formatting CVs and things like that. So as a job, it's great for dopamine hits, where you send 3 CVs out, you get 2 interviews. Great, fantastic, little wins. But then the lows are quite low. So yeah, I was researching the volume of, and this is dark, but I'm not ever going to do it, but the volume of male suicides linked with ADHD, and it is higher. It is, because you overthink it. You think, like my son, he was just winding up his brother. His summer holidays, right?
You got 2 boys.
2 boys, yeah,
Right.
11 and 8, and the oldest one's got it. And I just kind of said, can you just stop doing that? And he just spiraled out. He spiraled because I've told him off, and his negative rejection to it. So you have to handle him differently. But then I'm spiraling because I'm not on meds at the weekends, and neither's he, and he's not going to take it all summer, right? So I think if you relate it to the workplace, if you know they are, you should, I believe, treat them differently or handle them differently, but you can't treat everyone differently.
No, it's a tough one from a leadership perspective. It is a tough one. I don't think we've really got it figured out yet. I suspect that whilst recruitment sounds like it was a great career choice for you, given that you were able to go from feeling a little bit like you were just scraping through life to being an absolute rock star in recruitment. I'm sure from a confidence perspective, 90% of the time that helped you. But I know what recruitment's like, and I definitely know what it was like then. And there are some pretty big shifts between hero and zero anyway for somebody who isn't neurodiverse. And for somebody that's undiagnosed, almost kind of masking. And I'm starting to now realize why you're always smiling, by the way. So I'm on to you. That being in a job that is so pressurized, and that job being the thing that you have found that you know that you're really good at, and that being the first thing that you've ever thought that you were really good at, must have been horrendously tough at times for you in recruitment. Can you remember anything that's particularly kind of awful that has happened, that maybe has
On the job in recruitment.
yeah
I think it's when the comments come, is the old school comment, you're only as good as your last month. And it's been, well, hang on, I'm trying really, really hard. I've arranged all these interviews. No one's got the job. I was dual desk, so I had a nice base of contractor, and then every now and then top up with some perm. I was like, well, okay, I'm flighting between the two. And who am I? And it was those that were snidey comments, or I choose to come in really, really early to start at 6 or 7 into town, because I might be doing some Asian markets or jobs in Australia. We had a big project globally, and then you arrange to leave at 5, and then you get the comment, all right, half day, mate, half. And so you're on the train going, oh, is anyone thinking I'm flaking off? Or so it's the old school mentality now. I appreciate that might have changed and things like that.
I'm not sure that it has. I think that it's been I think that the world would let us believe that it has, but there's still things that happen, and that's, I think, the first thing that we can do as leaders. We don't have to wrap people in cotton wool. You're right. We don't have to treat somebody differently just because we know that they have a certain different way of thinking, but we shouldn't be talking to anybody like that. We don't have to. We shouldn't be talking to some people in these snidey comments and then not say it to Clarky because he might flip out. It should just be, no, don't do that, because you actually don't know what's going on in someone's mind, or how you should assume that everybody is going to be sat on the train thinking in the same way, not just because they have a certain condition, but because that's just not okay to say that. And shout out to all leaders in all areas outside of recruitment as well, just to be mindful of how these comments, and I've always found them very, very annoying, as somebody who was trying to navigate the world of recruitment with 2 kids under 2 at one point in a culture that was just so inflexible. I mean, you've said it yourself, you were not allowed to do anything remote when you had a baby on the way and a young child at home. We shared that experience. And so I just think we need to be mindful of the things that we say as leaders, and it's almost a duty of care and a responsibility that we have, because you don't know how that's going to land with people.
I think the whole bandwagon of everyone's got ADHD now, it's more, I didn't really think about it 10 years ago. And starting on medication last couple of months, it's been great knowing I've got a really busy day, and the chatter in your brain stops. You can focus. It's really clear about, if you do flip between projects, you normally just go back to it normally. So, oh yeah, I'm just doing that email. Phone call comes in or WhatsApp comes in, and then you can flip back. Where when I'm not, or when my son's not, or other people aren't, it is heavy anxiety linked to actions. And so when on the medication, it's great because it just calms down and it's slower. I always say it's this part of my brain that goes really quiet and really calm. But yeah, I would say if you think that some of the things that I've talked about, just go to doctors. There's loads of private clinics, and then it's just been a weight off my shoulder.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm just not the annoying little Dave, forgetful,
Yeah.
and can't find my keys, and I forgot to send that email. Or
That must feel great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's huge. And now it's not that I'm walking around with it like ADHD Dave. It's I get why I'm a certain way. And recruitment was great for me. Being an entrepreneur and a sales guy is great for me. And I bet half of recruitment leaders have all got it. And I was in a meeting a couple of, I was like, definitely got it. And yeah, it's just been a weight off my shoulder. It's been great.
Brilliant. And you've turned it into a positive thing. What do you you've mentioned a couple of times now the ADHD bandwagon. Do you think that is why do you think that has been coined as that? Do you think that there are genuinely people that use ADHD as flippantly as a reason to maybe not perform as well as they could, maybe to explain why their children are misbehaving? Like what's really, something's led to that, because it's quite a damning accusation, really, or you're on the ADHD bandwagon.
So no parent wants their kid constantly told off at school, right? And so that's where it all starts for most of, I'm 43. So you get your child diagnosed, and then it's hereditary, so it gets passed down. So it must have come from my mum or dad, and we think it's mum. And in women, it's masked differently, very differently to men. And then a load of us lot, 35 to 45-ish, are probably all getting diagnosed. And then everyone wants medication because it's great. It is really good, but don't take it every day. So I think that's where the public perception of it, the awareness, the availability of the meds. I think there is a bit of a bandwagon. Oh, he's got ADHD. Oh, he's a bit of a naughty one. Oh, he's got ADHD. It's okay. Well, it's not. I don't want my kids being naughty ever, but there's a reason why they might not be able to sit still, or they might not be able to read. So they do get extra care. They get a bit more time in exams now. They go to a room where it's quiet and silent. And there is, well, I didn't have that in the 80s, 90s. Just crack on with it, click around the ear, job done. So, yeah, not by dad.
You sure it wasn't the 60s or 70s? How old are you really?
No. So
let's talk about that. I mean, I don't want to double click too much on your family in particular, but more from an education perspective. We had a guest a few weeks ago who has some very strong opinions about the education system. Are your kids in private school? Right. Because that would be different. So how have you found education in general? Because when you were at school, as you say, clip around the ear, or you're always naughty, or you don't do things right, and you're just constantly kicked, basically. And once or twice, if you've got an angry teacher, it's not going to affect you too much as a kid. You push it off. But those little niggles every single day is a little bit like the leader that's like, oh, a bit half a day, is it? It's the same concept. Teacher every single day, oh, you've not done that properly, you're bad at that, you sit down, stop talking. It's going to grate on you eventually. How has that changed, and how is the experience of education for, say, your son versus what you have to experience?
So the oldest one who's got it is an ideas boy. He has so many ideas. He's either going to be a scientist or like head of innovation. All right. So let's just channel that. Why does he have to be an accountant, or why does he have to be a lawyer, or things like that? So we're channeling that. So at home in the evening, he's a bit older, so the youngest one goes to bed early, and he comes down each night and watches a bit of Modern Family or Simpsons at the moment he's on. But I'm there doing some work on Bob, and he's like, you're on bobcheck stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to come up with an idea of this new feature we're rolling out, and I need a name. And so he's like, oh, okay, great. Let me think about that. So we're just channeling it that is great. And now where we are with AI and vibe coding and everything now, he loves his science stuff. He loves programming. He goes on little holiday camps, the programming camps, and code ninjas at the weekend. 8 years' time, when he's going to be 18, 19, where are we going to be? So let's just channel that energy and excitement and think, yeah, well, number one, I'm sorry you've got it because you got it from me. But it's kind of irrelevant. In his world now, in the education world, it's irrelevant. So we're just trying to create our little family otters are happy, positive people. And everything else is irrelevant.
And do you think that school life supports that as well?
No, it's very much 9 till 3, 3:30, sit down, learn and go. But because he's moving to secondary in September,
Right.
even just moving classrooms is going to be great for him. Because at the moment, primary, one classroom.
That's always made me think about children that do struggle with any type of neurodiversity, any type of, like, they think that they're thinking different, or they struggle to stay still or whatever. That is a long time. I could not stay. Like, I start moving around 40 minutes into the podcast.
This lake's gone dead.
Yeah.
So,
like,
yeah.
I just can't imagine putting somebody. It's almost like torture for me to even think about being in a room for that long. So that must be really tough for him.
It was tough. And then teachers get it, go for little, they're called brain breaks.
Right.
So imagine fag break
Yeah.
every hour, go for a brain break.
Right.
Even with me, just sit down, go for a walk around the garden if I work from home, or go to the office, just walk around, reset, go back.
Brain break is, I mean, you don't have to have ADHD for that to be valuable. It's probably one of the best pearls of wisdom we can pass on to people, particularly if they're working from home. I find working from home really difficult because you are kind of stationary and that place isn't, you haven't left the house to go there, and then you're back in the house and you've got the kids and you've got all of the, you know that the washing machine's on or whatever. I mean, I am one of the lucky ones. I do have an office at home. I still find that when I leave the house, and even if it's, like, say, just for an hour, to go for a run, go to the gym, go and do some thinking time, it is so good for the brain. And it's real brain rot staying in the same room for a long period of time. And I think that applies to everybody, Dave, to be honest. It's not just, you don't have to have ADHD for that to be a bad idea to stay still.
I took us off on a tangent, I'm sorry.
That's the idea. This is why there is no script. If there was a script, we wouldn't have had all these gifts and pearls of wisdom.
It is where we've got to, all that stuff that happened, all the negativity and all the mentally bad stuff is, I think, got me to where we are, where I am now. And so that
You're such a positive person, though. You are extremely positive, and you are somebody that I think if somebody's having a bad day, you're the kind of guy you want to run into because you're going to make them feel instantly better. Do you feel like that every day, or are there days that you do mask?
my wife does say I'm a bit like a Duracell bunny, but some days I said to Helen, I'm like, I need a break, or I just need to go for a run, reset. But some days, yeah, I'm positive. I'm a glass half full, I'm shooting for the stars, hit the moon kind of guy, because I think I'm on this journey with Dad and that company and bobcheck. I can't be that negative. Just before, I had a client message and go, look, actually, it's been great, been with Bob 2.5 years. We've changed so many ops processes to prevent misfeeds happening. We can turn off. I was like, well, is that a positive? Is that a negative? I was like, I hit him with a counter offer, and because we've got some new features coming and whatnot. So,
is it a negative or a positive? You've delivered your outcome.
Yeah.
You've delivered the goal. 2.5 years is quite a long time to hold on to a client.
let's look at it like that, or let's look at it as, oh shit, bad client retention, bad client care, and where am I at it? So, yeah,
That's the type of product that it is. It's designed to kind of
improve.
make itself redundant, and at some point, but as the product evolves, obviously you'll have more things that you can then say no, stay, and actually the best SaaS products do. I could probably name 3 or 4 different products that I use that I have left or cancelled my contract more than once, and then they've hit me with the roadmap and I've gone, oh, go on then, I'll have a little bit more, thanks. So I think that's just building really good products and having a almost it's being in control and knowing that that's going to happen, knowing what your average life cycle of the customer looks like. We know after a year and a half they're probably going to have got all the value out of this, so we need to make sure that we're constantly innovating, so when that churn comes in we catch it and we go, actually we'll just turn that into an upsell. But also being okay with saying, well, we did the job, and they were super happy, because they become a reference for life, which is very valuable as well. That was a fantastic set of insights, and I think people will get a lot more out of this than learning about behind our back or missed fees, should we say, or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole kind of the ADHD chat, I think will resonate with many people and will be so useful. And thank you for being so honest about that. But I also want to bring this back to, like, the product that you're building is absolutely a no-brainer. It's fantastic. Talk about the rule of find a problem and work out how to solve it. Like, you have absolutely nailed that. So what's next for you? You seem quite happy with your lot. You know, you've been diagnosed, so you're happy in your own skin, you're happy with yourself, you know when things feel differently, it's for a reason. So you must be very comfortable kind of day to day. Sounds like you've got an amazing family behind you, which is the key to most people's success, let's face it. And a great product and lots of advocacy in the market. I know that you're so well regarded in our industry. You say, right, I've done it, I've cracked it, or is there more from you?
So when we first started, AI didn't exist. That's only 4 years ago.
Wow, it's mad, isn't it?
Oh no, it's crazy. And we got it within the system. So we found a couple of missed fees for a client where the data that we're tracking is what you have, just say, on Bullhorn or JobAdder. So the recruiter put the client's company name wrong. So we're tracking the wrong data. So we used an AI bot within our system, our own agent, to do spell checker and reference point checker, and that they found a missed fee because we spotted the spelling mistake, that if you were just to plug it into, just say, Zoom info, it wouldn't match anything. So from that, we're doing a pure AI search engine that has got many secret features. And we've got some other features coming. And the biggest one that one of our board members is trying to advocate is the contractor tracker. And that'll be live September, October.
Wow.
So we've got a new dashboard for better reporting. It sounds really simple, but actually taking so much client feedback about what they want to report back. What's our ROI? What's our reasons for missing it? There's 4 features. There's you claimed it, log the fee. You've negotiated retains or exclusives, log that fee. You decided to not take any action, log that fee of how much you've actually just missed, and then you're still investigating.
Right,
well.
so you can see that.
You can see the pipeline.
Yeah.
AI as native, our own model and language. Self-onboarding. So at the moment, you come through me and the sales team, and we onboard you, but we're going to have the ability to just load up, select how many CVs you want to track, and connect up Bullhorn, JobAdder, Vinny. We've got Bullhorn for Salesforce launching September. I don't know when this comes out, but we've got the tick that we're allowed to connect on that one. So we've got the 4 APIs. And then, some other secret features coming.
Some secret features. I kind of love that there is an air of secrecy about your products, isn't there?
It's proven. There's market need and people want it. Is it tens of thousands of pounds a month, like some other tools that you might use? No. We've made the fee structure a bit of a no-brainer, that just plug it in, and even if you find one missed fee, you'll pay for our monthly fee by about 3-fold, 4-fold. Crack on, no brainer. We've got one global top 10 agency using it globally, and their results are quite different, that they're finding lots, but then in each region, maybe Southern Europe are going after it hard, the fees. Germany, they are militant, and maybe UK and America, they're not going after it so hard. So you've got the missed fees, and then globally you can report leadership performance. And are you actually going after it or not? Spain are, Portugal are.
Yeah.
But you're not. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
And the top 10 are all reporting 10-20% down on last year, or they're not hitting their targets. It's like, well, actually, I think that the top 10 transactional recruiters, I think one stat was 20 or 30% of their global staffing are always within their first year of service. Just if you've got 5,000 staff, you're always going to have 1,000 in their first year and churn. So if you haven't got bobcheck plugged in, then but the journey of where we are right now, this is that kind of appreciation point. I came up with an idea, I've taken it to market, and I was like, even if one customer thinks it's a great idea and they buy it, I'm chuffed. And we've got about 40, 45 paying customers. It's, it's growing. I think the market awareness is there, and I love it.
I love that philosophy of like, let's test it that way. Let's see whether anyone wants to put their hand in their pocket and actually buy this thing. As a CRO, we kind of spend all of our time trying to predict and trying to forecast what might happen. And it's actually, let's just put ourselves out there. Let's see if anyone wants to buy this thing, because that is the best proof of concept you will ever have, and the best test of your product market fit. It's not, there are loads of data points, but until somebody goes, there you go, there's £1,000 of my cash, it's very, very difficult to predict. And now that's kind of escalated, and it looks like you are very much now set up for enterprise. So at what point does it become not just you? Have you got aspirations to grow the company into something bigger?
So because we're SaaS and we don't, let's do speech marks, care how much money you've got back, we've got a client in Germany. And so fundamentally what happens is you plug in bobcheck in the API, and we go back and extract your last year's data for free, speech marks free. And we run all your last year's data on day one. So ping, 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 ping. And then any CV send or interview that happens, we live track. So the fun part is the first month, and we have all these event notifications that John has joined Microsoft and this is the interview and things like that. So these guys in Germany are brilliant, but the language barrier is quite prominent. I was like, we get an email notification, hey, Donna's joined the engine. And I was like, forward that, hey guys, how did this work out? Did you get the fee in? Is this a true miss fee? It might have been a bullhorn mistake, placement mistake. Email back, yes, David, this is great. Fine, okay, leave it a week. Hi guys, how have you got on with this? And there was a language barrier. So I actually didn't know how much they generated from Bob. And there was about 5 or 6 ping, ping, ping. I was like, all right, fine. So one day they pop up, and I was struggling to get some time with them on. And then all of a sudden on a Sunday, they message, go, hey, we've got an idea. We want to run a new idea by you. I was like, great. Yeah, if it gets me on the phone with you. So Tuesday comes along, and they talk about this idea. I was like, yeah, that's in the roadmap, actually. We're building that. It's one of the ideas. It's great you want that, and it's coming. I asked for their feedback, and they said, yes, it's great. I said, by the way, how are you getting on with Bob? Oh, yeah, I had 150,000 euros paid out. And they just didn't tell me. I was like, okay, this is fine. It's like, but you need to log it. So that's why the new dashboard for better reporting, they can log how much, because in a year's time or 2 years' time, they might forget, right? So, and then he hits me and he's like, we love Bob. Are you doing a raise? Are you fundraising? I was like, well, it's on the cards because we need to grow and accelerate, or do we invest with our profit and grow with that? So the next board meeting, we can decide what we do.
Okay.
And then we'll go up.
It's sounding like, even though it's your brainchild and you'll absolutely always be involved, I think, it's sounding like this is literally just the first, this is just the beginning for bobcheck. And I think that it's, to me, it sounds like it's going to be much bigger. And, you'll have the investors, but I imagine that the CRMs, I'm just going to predict, will be having a bun fight at some point over who's going to pay you the most money. And I very much look forward to seeing that happen. I'd like a front row seat at that fight, to be honest, because I think it would be a really valuable, just coming from the world of CRM myself, what a valuable asset to your core system. And it's actually kind of it's very much seen as a core functionality. It could be quite quickly seen as something that you can't do without. You mentioned this, it's a no-brainer. You wouldn't have a recruitment business without a CRM, and I think we might get to the point where you wouldn't have a recruitment system without Bob either. So I look forward to it, and it's certainly be well deserved as well, because you've definitely had a journey to get here. David, we're nearly done. You'll be glad to know I've not willed you too badly, have I? No.
Bit like therapy, but that's fine.
I'm going to ask you, well, a couple of things, really. What you've talked about today, we don't do pre-prep, by the way, just so everyone knows, and that's very
Yeah,
intentional.
you didn't know what I was going to talk
No,
about
I had
today,
no
no.
idea, and that's intentional. I never want to know, because I feel like it just leads the question. It's a bit fake. So I had no idea, but what I do know is that people will have found it extremely useful and comforting in more ways than one. So I would ask you to kind of finish on maybe some of the real learns that you've had, or maybe advice that you could give to somebody who does feel as though, maybe they're sat with their partner saying, I don't think, what was it you said? I don't think properly.
I don't think my brain works
I
properly.
don't think my brain works properly. If there's anybody out there that's thinking their brain doesn't work properly, but they really want to start a company and they've got some great ideas and they're creative, what would you say to them?
So my wife asked me something like that a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's just perseverance and tenacity. I think that the drive to just carry on, where people are saying no, or that might not work, or that doesn't sound like a good idea. Well, to them it doesn't, but to other people it does. And I came up with the idea with Bob. It's a well-known process that happens, and I think if you think your brain doesn't work properly, it's working absolutely bloody fine. You just got a unique skill set that is just different to someone else. And I think they said Da Vinci probably had ADHD. So it's something that when your brain is telling you no, and you fear rejection, and it's not going well, it's probably going absolutely bloody fine. It's just you think it's not, and it is fine.
And would you recommend that if someone really does struggle or feels as though, so has some of the other challenges that you had around overanalyzing and feeling anxious about things that are said at work or whatever, is it worth them maybe going getting checked out, or is there anything that they can do kind of themselves that might help? Do you think to remedy that?
I think the NHS is overloaded with the requests. So there's a number of private clinics that you can just message. You have to pay. It's the route that we went down, because the delay in NHS was just too long.
I've heard it on the news actually. It's
Yeah,
really...
you just go to a private clinic, and they'll just take you through the motions.
Yeah.
We went down the autism route, and they were like, no, have a look at this one. So, and that's how it ended up with us. So, but the one thing is so silly. There are so many little Instagram channels, and try and follow a few, and they're like, and you work out if you think you are. It's a bit silly. It's a bit bandwagony. That's what I keep on saying. But they've all got ADHD, or they're ADHD consultants, and the way that they summarize it, I was like, yeah, that's me, like 100%.
And then that prompted you to actually go to...
Yeah, it was.
What an investment, though, even though it
eldest
cost
son
me...
first, and then this, and then because you're just following all these Instagram things about, and they're really funny videos, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Life-changing as well. So what a great investment in you and your health. And, you could have spent that on a holiday, well, I don't know what your nights out are like, but a night out.
pretty non-existent. Yeah.
But no, fantastic advice. And I think you've already alluded to this, but I'm sure that you've always been a very open person anyway. You're, as I said at the start, you're somebody that we gravitate to in a crowded room. But if there are people that don't know you, I'm sure that you would be very happy for them to reach out to you on LinkedIn, and get to know you a little bit better, because I think that would be a really wise move for them. I appreciate your honesty today so much. It's been a really lovely session, and I can't wait to see where bobcheck goes. I think that, like I say, I genuinely think this is just the beginning. So good luck with the journey.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been great.